Hey guys, it's me, James. So I got a little bit of a drive in front of me. So let's talk a little bit about the way my life has turned out. I mean, it's pretty good. I'm better than I deserve. Okay. As many of y'all know that do follow me, I do have a very successful pet waste removal business. You know, we're getting close to 400 yards a week. I have a beautiful family. And ignore this sun because it's, 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning. And I'm headed out to do another one of my side gigs that I do. Actually, two of them. I just got finished with a little bit one of them, and then some more work came in. I never thought I was going to be a side gig person. I discovered I'm not a 9-to-5 guy. I don't mind taking people telling me what to do, but that's not my style. I'm more of a, here's your work, go do it. I've been like that since, I guess, my early 20s when I started doing cable. I started out as a disconnect guy doing cable, and they said, okay, here's 30 jobs, go. Okay. And I got used to you just run your route. You get your work in the morning and you go. And I did that for years and years and years, and it turned into installs, and I did a little delivery thing in there where I was a contractor running a Sprinter van and some other stuff. Same thing. They didn't really say what time we had to be there to pick up all of our parts. It just had to be delivered by the end of the day. So we'd get out there at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, get loaded up, and we'd head out, and at noon I was home. I'd traveled 500 miles and I was back. Well, maybe not 500, probably about 350 a day. And then when that gig ended and, the money fell short on it, and I moved on to something else, and I went back to installs, and here was your work, go do it. When the money fell short on that, I landed into pest control. A little more of a bossy situation, but at the same time, once you were trained and certified by the state, they gave you all the equipment, you went and did it. They gave you a route every day. This is your route, go do it. It's up to you to get it done. Fast forward up to, I guess, about 3.5 years ago. Well, yeah, probably about 3.5, 4 years ago, me and my wife split up. And my wife never wanted me to open a pet waste removal business. And I understand why she didn't. And it's because I have a short attention span. I get bored with stuff quickly. And it takes a lot to make me happy. Like, once I've learned it, I'm no longer happy. Once I've gone as far as I can go with something, I'm not happy with it. It's just the way I am. I was like that with video games. I'm like that with anything I do in life. If there's not a new goal, I get super depressed. If I'm not working on something, I get super depressed. Really bad depression. So I have to have my hands in multiple projects, and my mind's always turning. And eventually you strike gold. Okay, it was silver at first, now it's gold. So, a lot of the world's turning into gig life people now. That's what we're, gig life. Everybody's doing gigs. Nobody holds. I got a guy that works for me that, if I'm not mistaken, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he only works for me Thursday and Friday. But, so he works, his 10, 12 hours a week for me, and then he works another job. And between the two of them, he's happy and he's able to make his bills. It gives him a little bit of variety. I think he's a lot like me. We like to have, our hands in multiple pots. Now, the reason I've always had my hands in multiple pots is because I've always been a contractor, and when that contract's up, if that was your only egg, you're screwed. So, I don't have big eggs anymore. I have my one big egg, but it's grown so big, it's going to take a lot of bad choices to make the big egg, which is the pet waste removal business. I've got 9 different scoopers that are out there helping me right now. So it's going to take a lot and a lot of them, all but 2, The other 7 are all 1-day or 2-day workers. They have other jobs. They have other things they do. They go out a couple days. They make a little extra money. Said and done. So let's fast forward to why I'm up so early in the morning. It's 7 something in the morning. The sun's blaring in and I'm driving. Well, and people make fun of me because they're like, oh, that doesn't make any money. That, okay, it doesn't. But here's what's happened. So I'll start you off. Where do I find all these side gigs? Random places, from Indeed all the way to Craigslist. Craigslist used to be full of scammers, okay? I will give it. It was. You really had to feed through them, And now that Craigslist, in order to post a job, you have to pay, it's knocked out all the scammers. There's 1 or 2 in there now. But if you go into gigs or jobs in your town, now, you can't just browse like once a month and go through them. No, you got to check it once a day, twice a day, because you're competing with all these other contractors. So you got to get your name in there, and you got to say more than in your email, I'm interested. More information. Because most of the time, all the information is already there. Now, I will tell you why you need to put more than just interested in that email. Well, when I hire for these sign positions, somebody says I'm interested, I just move on. Tell me why you're interested in the position. Be like, hey, I work Monday through Friday. I need a little extra income. I'm available on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays from these times to help you out. And anything else you might need during these hours, send me a little bit of stuff about, tell me like your availability and stuff, not I'm interested, because you know what? The ones that are getting those gigs are the ones that are putting that, hey, just like how I got this sign thing I'm doing right now. It pays $50 a weekend. It takes me about an hour and a half. It's about 45 hours to put out and about 30 minutes to pick up. Pays $50. Yeah, I got to burn some gas. Whatever. And so people are like, well, that's dumb. That doesn't seem like a lot of money. But what just happened was I got that phone call. Now I'm fighting a situation right now where other builders, I'm putting up signs for builders, picking them up, putting them down, picking them up, put them down Friday night, pick them up Sunday night. So that's just so we're not littering the city like the rest of the sign people. So what's happening is another builder's going through and pulling up all of our signs. It sucks. I don't, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm doing my job, and the builder of this development is like, well, we'll just do what we can do. And hang on, I'm pulling in my address here. So what happened was, now the company that I'm contracted with has contacted me about like it's a glorified supervisor's position. So that's all it is. It's just I'm over this area and any areas around me within a couple hours, that if they get projects up there, that I would go up there and train them. They'd pay me to train them. They also want to pay me to scout locations around this area. They want to pay me for my drive out there, so much per miles. So this $50 weekend gig that I've been doing for the last couple months, has panned out to something bigger. And I've done this with other sign projects that have turned into, I had one where I used to travel, 2 hours away, but it would pay a grand a weekend. I'd have 4 sign walkers, 200 to 300 signs to put out. It was a little bit of work. I'd go out, on those, I'd go out on Friday night. I'd throw out 200 signs throughout the city for the, the store closing sale or restructuring sale. That Saturday morning, I'd get my 4, 5, 6 sign walkers out there. I'd go to the hotel and crash, and then I would just drive around checking on them, and typically, whoever it was I was with, we'd go grab lunch, we'd go shopping, we'd go check on them, and the same thing on Sunday, pick the signs up, and those were paying a grand a weekend. So that was pretty good money on a gig wise, and it was all found on Craigslist. I sent my thing into the guy. I said, look, I work Monday through Friday. This is what I do. This is my availability. Here's a brief history of what I handle. Just a small, short resume on what I do. being routes and all this. So I built up a pretty good, I'm not driving now, so I'm gonna take this off. So I built up a pretty good reputation in the contracting world. That people are like, hey, what do you know about this guy? And they're like, oh yeah, he's a good guy, he's gonna get the work done. And I don't ever flake on it. I if you're gonna contract to do a job, do it. Don't screw the people over, because it's just a mess of chain down the line that it causes. And it happens to me every now and then with the pest control thing, that somebody doesn't show up and I'm like, crap. Especially towards the end of the week, if somebody doesn't show up, I'm screwed. I can understand rain and snow. Okay, we're not going to scoop, but when somebody just doesn't show up or they oversleep, there's a little bit of flexibility. But when it happens every week, that's a trouble. I'm a little more flexible than some of these contract gigs. But so I do the first one. I've got the pet waste removal. That's my nest egg. That's it right there. That's where my money's being made. That's how I pay my bills. That's my livelihood. Everything is sunk into it. The second thing is these signs. Yeah, it only pays right now $50. I mean, $200 a month, but it's a little bit, And now them having me go out and search areas and stuff. And then third is these photos. If you've never done photo insurance audits, Google it. There's multiple companies out there that they have you go and do drive-by photos of houses. So I'm going to stop this at a part 1, and I'm going to continue this and get this job done.